Well, my friends, I'm very lucky to have David Peterson. Welcome to Sudzin Country.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, you have a new album out called Coming On Strong, a little departure from David Peterson in 1946.
Yes, it is. It's strictly a traditional country record. Of course, you know, I've been playing bluegrass for 30 years, and but living in Nashville, you are exposed to many different kinds of great music.
That's all here.
And of course, one of those is country music. Some of the best steel guitar players in the world live here, and just some of the best musicians in the world, period, live here. So you hear it all the time. You're around it all the time. But a few years ago, I started having a burning desire to do a country record, a traditional country record. And there was a vein of songs that I knew of, and of course, when I'd hear certain songs, I would think, you know, that would really sound good in a country setting, given a country treatment. And so I had quite a few songs that I knew of that I thought would sound, you know, that would sound wonderful like that. And so back in '07, Dennis Crouch, bass player on the record, Dennis and I set out to do this. Dennis helped me produce the record, and of course he was a session leader on the record. And we set about to do this record. It was interesting how it went about. We recorded it live in one room with no headphones. And so this is live music with the exception of just a few harmony parts on vocals added after the fact, but most of the duets you hear on the record were sang live.
Wow.
So there's only a few instances where harmony was added, but this is a live record. And of course, we were so fortunate to have Buddy Emmons come in and play on the record. We believe this to be the last record he's played on since he's gone into retirement.
Wow.
Also, the late, great John Huey. This was the last record John Huey ever played on. Just a few months later, he passed away. So we were very fortunate to have John on here. You know, he was in good health at the time. You know, and no signs of anything happening. But he played wonderful. And of course, Paul Franklin, the great Paul Franklin, plays steel on most of the record. And in a wide array of other musicians, we have Jeff Taylor and Tim Atwood on piano, respectively, and Shad Cobb, Aubrey Haney, Joe Spivey, and Timmy Crouch on the fiddles in various combinations. Dennis Crouch on upright, of course, I mentioned. Tommy Giampetro and John Gardner on the snare, on the drums. And let's see here, Richard Bennett on electric guitar. Brian Sutton also played some electric guitar.
You got some good company, pal.
We had a really good time doing this record.
How long did it take you to cut this record?
We did it over the span of about 4 months.
Okay.
And we take a day with that many people and with all their demanding schedules. About once a month. Once or twice, about once a month, we seem to be able to get everybody's schedules together. So over the course of about 4 months, we go in and we do 2 sessions. We take a whole day, and so we cut it live to 2-inch tape, 24-track 2-inch, and then.
Now, where did the songs come from for this?
Well, many sources. There is one original. I wrote one of the songs on the record with a friend of mine, and it's called Neckties. Of course, you know, I always wear vintage neckties when I perform and things. So there's a little spoof on that, kind of a fun song. But also many various sources of obscure country music. One being some of the more obscure Mac Wiseman recordings. A lot of his dot records are some of my favorite. That was his earliest stuff. That's him. That's him. Yeah, early '50s. Yeah. And of course, James O'Gwyn was another source. James O'Gwyn,
back too, a few days.
Back in the late '50s. He's a star of the Louisiana Hayride, and so we recorded 2 of his songs.
We're talking classic songs here.
Classic songs, old blues songs like Rattlesnake and Daddy, which is a Blind Boy Fuller song. But Hawkshaw Hawkins is known to have cut it, probably about the most famous version in country, I guess. So we cut that, and let's see, the list goes on. Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper, Come Walk With Me.
Man, oh man. 50s also. 60s.
Yeah, well, 60s, yeah, that's right, 50s and 60s. Yeah. And let's see, Jimmy Newman, before he was known as Jimmy C.
He was country.
He was country,
Yeah,
Jimmy
absolutely.
Newman. So we did some of his music, Little Jimmy Dickens.
He's great.
And so just
You have a
out of
good-
the ordinary. Willie Nelson, of
Oh.
course, we did probably the most recognizable song on the record is Family Bibles. But,
Okay.
you know, I always loved that song, and we had a chance to cut it, and it really was really pleased with how that came out. Paul Williams gave us a couple songs to use on the record. The one that we cut was called Wild Party Nights, and he wrote that song 54 years ago and never recorded it, nor
No
did
kidding.
anybody else. So basically, it's a 50-year-old new song.
Wow.
That nobody had ever heard before. He said, you know, and I was really proud to have got the chance to cut that. So there's some of your sources.
Yeah, so you have a pretty good array of songs coming up.
It's country.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's real country.
It's real country.
Real
it's,
Wilma
it's,
Lee and you know, Mac Wiseman and Willie Nelson and whoever, Jimmy C. and all them. They're good choices, man.
It's from a vein of music that could have gone either way.
Right.
You know, it could have gone. You could just as easily do it bluegrass as you could like
To
this.
say you could have grasped it.
Yeah, it's all. You go far enough back, really, it's all just the same thing.
that-
It's country music.
You were known as David Peterson in 1946. How did you come up with it in 1946?
Well, it was due to the fact that Bill Monroe recorded for Columbia Records in first
little
records
earlier.
with Latin Scruggs in the band were recorded in 1946 and then 1947 for
Okay.
Columbia. And the name is meant to pay tribute to the original spirit and intent of the music,
Isn't
to
that
capture the spirit of the music. You know, go back and get a freshness and try to play within that spirit of what they would do and they were creating. And
Paying tribute to the legends.
yeah, you know, and it's really worked good. You know, I've played a lot of bluegrass all over this country now, and I just have this van that I realize I've driven in like almost every state now in the lower 48. It's been everywhere, man. It's seen some things, seen some miles, you know.
There you go.
But no, I'm having the time of my life. I'm just really
Good.
enjoying myself.
Website, where can people get a hold of you and talk about coming on strong? You know, they can find out what's going on.
www.1946band.com, and that will take you to other windows as well, to my MySpace page and Facebook.
Yep.
And to CD Baby, where you can purchase CDs and what have you.
Perfect. How many CDs have you cut in all the years?
Coming On Strong is my fifth
Okay.
record.
Good. Well,
Fifth
they're,
CD.
They're all available. They can check them all out on the website.
They are all available.
Good.
Yes, absolutely.
David, it's been a pleasure having you on Southern Country. I've been talking to you for thinking about you for quite a few years, and by golly, you're here today.
Well, maybe we can come up to New Jersey and do some
When
picking.
you're there, let me
again.
know. You
Okay.
bet. David Peterson, right here in Southern Country.